I was seated across from a woman that I admired, but resented a little because she was holding my fate literally in her hands. It was the day of my pathology results from my very first surgery. Now, you must first understand that my oncologist was wonderfully smart. I was extremely lucky to find her, the kind of no-nonsense person you want around at a time like this. And she had this endearing habit of never having a pad of paper nearby, ever. And so very often, I got these very elaborate scientific schematics of my lady bits on napkins, scraps of paper, anything close at hand. In fact, I have a drawing of my uterus here with me tonight. I'll pass it around later if you're interested. But I somehow found this soothing, even if it sounds a little medically questionable. I assure you, she was on top of things. And these little napkin drawings actually made me feel like I was sitting with a friend in a local pub, discussing directions to the theater or ideas for maybe a new slow cooker recipe. But it actually went along the lines of, as she was showing me this, it's invasive and it's likely stage 1. We'll have to go in for another look. And while we're at it, we'll throw in some lymph nodes for good measure. Endocervical adenocarcinoma. Rolls off the tongue, no? So as I sat there in stunned silence, her next comment would change the way I viewed my cancer forever. She added that it's in the transformational zone. Dun, dun, dun. And me thinking, transformational zone, you know, the area where the cervix turns into the uterus. I wondered, is that anything like the neutral zone? You know, Star Trek. Any Star Trek fans in the audience? Yeah. So in that moment, my cervix became a new, uncharted episode of Star Trek. And while nodding to my oncologist as if I was raptly paying some sort of attention to her, I began to visualize tiny little Romulans and Klingons in there battling. And a wee, tiny crew yelling, "Captain, I'm giving her all she's got." And then it hit me. I mean, you know, come on, this is a Star Trek episode. I totally got this. And if you think about it, the episode always ends in resolution. They always figure it out, right? And sure, someone might get lost in a transporter accident or two. But it always ends in the rolling of credits and a sense that the future always looks bright. So while I was in all those MRI tubes, they were escape pods. All the backless gowns that you see, crew uniforms. And best yet, the speculum, a tiny little phaser set to stun. And still, every time I'm on that dreaded table, and you know the one where she keeps saying, no, scooch down a little further, no, keep going, almost there, almost there. And you're precariously perched, about to fall off the edge, and you're stuck to that sheet of paper. Yeah, that table. It's in those moments that I get scared again. I get terrified of the pain of the what if, of the fact that somehow I still find myself in this terrible situation. And though the tears always come, even 9 years later, I'm going to be 9 years cancer-free on May 23rd. There is a special small sound that I make during that rotten exam. Each time I secretly, under my breath, give my doctor a soundtrack for the Pap test, an HPV test, and it goes a little something like this. Pew, 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 pew. Because in that space, in the war against these mutant alien cancer cells, we are fighting a battle against some unknown forces. And it is my hope that in my lifetime, while some may win and some may lose the battles, that we win this war. Thank you.